Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Real Talk with Ryan Madrid. Thank you to VIP Mortgage for having us in this awesome space. And obviously, thank you to Trey over here, my engineer, and Trisha, my producer slash catch-all. She does everything for me. And she's my sister. She doesn't love that part, by the way.
No, I don't mind being your sister as long as I also have a name attached.
No.
It used to be like, oh, here's my sister.
And my sister.
Yeah.
My sister and my nephew. So it's a family affair here. So the Real Talk with Ryan Madrid podcast is a podcast not just about real estate, not just about mortgages or being a realtor or in the title business or whatever, but it's about people doing cool things in Arizona or outside of Arizona. Who knows? Anybody that's doing cool things that have a cool story. But today, no, just kidding. So today we got a double whammy. We got a cool person doing cool things and is in the real estate business. So we have Ken Peterson from Shea Homes. You are the Vice President of Sales and Marketing, correct?
Correct. Good
Cool.
to be here, Ryan.
Thank you. Thank you very much for coming. So let's talk a little bit about how you got to Arizona, because it's going to tie us back to a little bit about your hobbies. So you grew up in Michigan, correct?
I did. Grew up in Petoskey, Michigan, small town, like 6,000 people. Went to parochial schools there. Graduated
Ken, can you bring your microphone a little bit closer to you, or can you come up to the table? Thank you.
There you go.
Test, baby, test.
Test. Is he still in frame, Trey?
Yeah.
Do we?
Ryan throwing out the
Are you
lingo.
cutting? Or, no, this is live. This
We
is
don't
live.
cut.
Yeah, we don't
It's
cut.
Facebook Live too, by the way.
All right, mic check, all set. So I went to parochial schools. My mother's Italian, my father's a Swede, and my mom says, hey, you're going to be a priest. That was news to me.
Wow. How old were you
So,
when you were told that?
I graduated 8th grade. So they shipped me to Wisconsin to seminary school all summer long. And I came back and said, Mom, I can't do it. I just can't do it. And so my sister was going to ASU. And so they go, hey, there's an all-boys school out there run by the Jesuits. We'll send you out there. So came to Arizona, went to ASU, and now I'm with you, Ryan.
Hey.
I mean, not with you.
And that'll wrap it up. Dude, so wait a second. So did your parents come with you, or they sent you out here to go to Brophy?
So they sent me out here. My sister picked me up at the
Okay.
airport. And then going to Brophy, you have to send all your records. You have to have your interview. And so I had my interview with them, and they said, hey, we'll take you on as a student. So came out here, lived with my sister for 3 months. She was a sophomore in college. She was not
love that?
She was not a big fan.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I think I was
you
locked
probably
in the
were.
bedroom most of the
Jeez.
time when she was studying or partying with her friends. So then my parents came out, got a home, and then life
cool.
was a little bit normal. But it gave me a little bit of glimpse to college life.
Yeah, no.
And I lived up to her expectations.
So you're advanced. We
Advanced,
call that, we'll call that advanced.
Advanced college student.
Yeah. So when your parents moved out here, where did you guys live?
Paradise Valley.
Okay.
So we lived there. My father's a big real estate developer, commercial and residential, and then started a brokerage here. And yeah,
There you go.
all good.
This
So I've been in real estate construction all my life.
Is his developer, with his company still in existence, or?
No, so he passed away last year with leukemia, but probably retired, a long time ago.
Yeah.
But it was Peterson and Associates, and
Oh, yeah.
he did a lot of stuff. Lived in the Phoenician and marketed a lot of products over there. So
That's why I asked that question. This is when I look over at her.
yeah,
Because I was seeing the same thing. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I've seen this sign before.
for sure.
Over time. So after you graduated from Brophy, did you have anywhere that you wanted to go besides ASU, or you just
no, I
was.
was. You leave you leave Michigan.
Right.
I left there in December, and probably 4 or 5 feet of snow on the ground, and I was like, wow, I really like the heat.
Right.
So I fell in love.
Yeah.
I mean, I really, really enjoy living here.
That's awesome. So
Did you live on campus? Sorry, Ryan.
Yeah, go for it.
No, never lived on. I was a Fiji, Phi Gamma Delta, but
What year did you graduate?
84.
Okay. I know some
That's
Fijis
a heavy.
from back.
Before you were born.
That's a heavy.
Yeah, not me.
That's a heavy Brophy fraternity.
The Ashtons were like Fijis around that time, I believe. John
You-
Ashton. Wasn't like John Ashton's like a
Lynn was in my class.
No way. Lynn was my broker. I worked for Lynn for
So
years.
Lynn worked out at DMB.
That's I did too.
Oh, well, there
She
you
worked
go.
for Lynn.
I
It's
worked
a
for
small world.
Lynn. He was
It's
my
a
broker.
small-
I met him up at Forest Highlands, and I ended up working with him at Verado.
Yeah, so he was in my class at Brophy. We graduated, 81. So,
No way. I'll have to take your picture and send it to him too. He's one of like my best friends.
yeah, there you go.
Good folks there.
It's like,
Yeah,
Peterson,
love the action.
what's up? No. I
Right.
haven't talked to him for
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
So.
He's a really successful agent, well, broker.
Yeah, his father was in the industry,
Mom.
right? Mom, the whole thing.
Mom
It's a family
was-
affair.
Yeah,
Well,
Mom
It's
you
kind of
gotta-
like the Madrids.
This
Yeah.
is not about Lynn Ashton, but she met him actually at Forest Highlands, right? When he was working at Forest
oh,
Highlands.
yeah, he was at Forest
Yeah.
Islands as
Yeah.
well.
So after you graduated from ASU, what was your intent?
So I always, loved construction, and I was on job sites with my father all the time, and real estate. And so my sister was working for a big wholesale plumbing company, and she's like, "Hey, you should go try this out." And so I did that for a while, which was good. Ran the warehouse, and then went to outside sales, and that was exciting. And then ran into a guy that at that time, this is pioneering, right? Was buying office buildings and doing office condos. So instead of renting space, buy your own condo, and just like you would a normal condo. So he's like, dude, you need to get your real estate license, because I didn't. And so I got my real estate license, worked with him for a little bit, and then a builder was coming to town, and my buddies were like, oh my gosh, it'd be cool to do no home sales. General Homes, they're no longer around. And so I got hired with them. Did their gig for a while, which was great because they had their kind of recipe how to build homes and how to sell homes. They would fly us to Houston, Texas. We'd spend weeks over there learning the whole process, come over here and implement those. And then we had the whole SNL debacle. So that's late 80s, the sky's falling. And so I'm like, what a perfect time to start a home building company and a real estate company.
Yeah.
Which I did, and so was successful.
Was it custom homes or was it
Custom homes and doing real estate. Mostly real estate was to help people sell their existing home or do the lot transaction. And I started, had 2 children, and I'm like, wow, when you work for yourself, it is like 7 days a week, 10, 14 hours a day. And I'm like, I can't really be a father.
Yeah.
And do all this. So I abandoned all that and went to work for Shea Homes.
Wow.
Here I am.
Good dad.
20, I don't even know, 28.
27 years, I believe.
We have 7 written
27.
down.
There you go, 27 years later. Quarter, a long
do
time.
you see it? Because that business is huge again right now, right? The agents that are all now developers too. They're all building custom homes. I mean, it's massive, especially in the Central Phoenix, Arcadia, Paradise Valley area. So I have a lot of friends that are basically doing what you did back then.
Yep.
But it seems like the resurgence of the agent is just becoming the developer, and they all love that more. But it's because the market's incredible right now.
Yeah, the market's incredible. I mean, it's the agents that stand the test of time that do the best.
Yeah.
For me to get a real estate license, and AZ and DRE laws are a little bit different today than they were back then, but if you owned a lot in Paradise Valley, I could get a letter from you and put a sign on it and say, hey, if I can find somebody to buy the home, great, or build a home, that'd be even better. And so I could do the lot transaction, but it was signage because I would have my real estate sign on your lot.
Right.
And I didn't have to have a listing. Today you have to have a listing. So got a lot of exposures, built a lot of really cool homes. I had fun with it. I love construction. But now I get the best of both worlds. We build huge communities, and
Yeah.
it's I love it.
So the house that you live in now, that you built when you were in your 20s, that you still live in, you were doing the custom building at that point.
I was doing the custom building at that point, and then I've always had side business. I owned coin-operated car washes, had a call center. I was like.
Yeah.
I was in my 20s. I was like, hey, I got a lot of energy. Let me just do a whole bunch of stuff, and maybe one will be my career.
Right. You were the entrepreneur
Yeah.
that wasn't perfect though.
But people come to my house today and they go, you didn't build this home. I'm like, yeah, I built it. And so when I was building it, my kids were little, right? Probably 4 and probably 2 and 4. And so we were pouring the driveway, and I stuck their feet in the concrete. And so I'm like, that's my kid's footprint.
Wow.
And they were like, that is so cool. So now my son's like 6'1", his foot's that big, and his little baby foot.
That's awesome.
Pretty cool stuff.
So when you went over to Shea, did you come right in as like a salesman? Like, what did you do for them?
So I interviewed with Buddy Satterfield. He was the sales manager at the time. He's like, hey, you got all this experience. I'd like you to sell homes for us, and we'll put you on a fast pass to management, which was great. And so, I started selling homes and then learned the company and the culture, and, moved into, I think I was a sales manager for like 6 months. And then they're like, no, you're going to be a VP of sales and marketing.
Yeah.
And, every day people go, I can't believe how many years, especially millennials, right?
Right.
You work for Shea longer than I'm alive. And I'm like, yeah, I know. But, there's never been a day I didn't look forward to going to work.
Gee, that's
Just,
amazing.
Wow.
That's not normal.
Yeah, it's totally not normal.
That's a testament to Shea
That's
Homes, I
awesome.
guess.
Yeah.
Jeez. So you do photography, videography, and obviously that's probably part of the sales and marketing side of Shea Homes. But were you always into that, or did you get into that as you were already working at Shea?
So it's funny how your parents really make a big impact and influence your life. From my mother being Italian, and the whole culture with Italian people, and then my father in real estate and development, and he was big into photography. So he would shoot Hasselblad, which is a film camera, had his own dark room. And so ever since I was little, I'd be always hanging out in the dark room. You ask somebody a dark room today, they're like, what?
Right.
You mean Adobe Lightroom?
Yeah. So, it's really, people talk about, digital photography, you're manipulating the photo. Well, you manipulated the photo in a dark room. And so I always thought it was fascinating that in an instant of time, you're capturing light, and then you transform that light to an image. And that's what really photography is. And so I've always had that passion. And, learning digital, you had to throw almost all your knowledge away from film photography when you transition into digital. But, it's fun. It's like capturing moments.
Yeah, that's super cool. So
this is before Facebook or Instagram, which now you capture moments and you publish them.
Immediately. As you do them.
Yeah, in the moment.
Way more than you should.
Yeah, you don't even
TikTok, Snapchat, make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Right.
Well, you've had to adapt to that world too, obviously. So
Yes.
So big part of Shea Homes or your guys' marketing campaigns now are all social, right?
Yeah, it's pretty much, and I'm terrible with years, but a while ago, right before the internet was popular, I worked on the team to get our first internet site for Shea Homes. Like, hey, we're going to go on the internet now. and that, this is real. This is like, we need to get, the
computer.
URL, well, I had computers, but, that was like this whole evolution.
Yeah.
And today, 96% of all of our customers come in to SheaHomes.com. That's your business front door.
Yeah.
And so, your content, informing customers and, assist them through the journey of new homes, which a lot of them aren't experienced with. That's your portal to communicate. And then you support that through huge social channels. And so we're on every social channel you could think of.
Right.
Except for some of those you don't want to think of.
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking of those.
Oh, okay.
I don't even know what you're talking about. So when they come into a sales office, most of those people have already kind of like checked out the community. They already know exactly pretty much what they want and what they want to see.
Yeah, for the most part, it's fascinating. But yeah, it's nice. You want informed customers.
Yeah.
You don't want people, that don't know your product. They're going to learn your processes and systems, but if they know your product and price points and, they're there to invest time to really say, hey, is this the place that I want to live? Is this the place I want to raise my family or cherish memories in? And so we get to help people transition through that and build, really cool communities.
So you being in charge of all that stuff, how hard was the transition moving into like all that stuff going like, okay, now we have to get on Facebook or now we have to get on, Instagram and Snapchat and TikTok and all that sort of stuff? Or you just kind of go to your people that are work under you and they come in with the ideas, or like, talk to me about that because you're not super young. I'm just going to
So I think it's mutual. So I've always been fascinated with technology and really understanding the kind of evolution of technology. And it's really about social communication. right? And so if you take a look at it in a different perspective, if you're a good communicator with somebody, then you need to learn how to communicate in a lot of different ways. So I would subscribe to things like iWired magazine. I don't even think they're around anymore. I don't even know, but and really learn from other companies. What were they doing to engage customers? What were they doing to make sure that they're following the buyer journey along their steps? Because for a home, from the time you dream to the time you move in, it could be 2, 3, 4, 5 years. And so, I would always get this stuff together and we'd brainstorm. I have a great team. They're very progressive, very smart people. And we would say, hey, we're looking at solutions to better engage our customers. And I think every company should do that, right? Every company should be looking at how do you communicate with the customer and how do they want to be communicated with? And it's fun. I mean, when you make a lot of mistakes, and people are vocal when you make a mistake.
Oh yeah, you'll find out pretty quick.
Yeah, so I was always good.
Yeah. So do you guys ever hire companies to consult with, or do you just have a big enough team within Shea to do it all yourself?
So when you take a look at the overall organization, certainly we have evolved, right? We use a company out of San Diego, Red Door. They manage, our website, really blog on a national perspective. But consumers, while it's important to you what's going on nationally, you really want to understand what's going on locally. And so then we engage PR firms. We talk about content, keeping up with current events that are happening or events just across the valley. Because if you look at a home, right, it's a nucleus. It doesn't matter if it's apartment, condo, single family, detached, attached. That's where you go, right? And that's where you're going to spend a good chunk of your time when you're not working. And so, that sense of community that's in the real world, we want to develop that sense of community in a virtual world that keeps you connected or gets you connected to our community.
And that can be pricey, right? Doing the whole virtual, you getting in, going on your computer and seeing yourself in the community and finding out everything there is to know and, enjoy all the houses, everything, all the amenities, all that sort of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So you gotta get to create all of this stuff. What about in town here? Let's talk about the new community that's right over by the Phoenician. That's a different sort of project for you guys, right?
It is. So, man, I got to think of time. So it's probably been 5 years ago, we heard about land being available where they're building the Ritz-Carlton. And, we thought that'd be a great idea. We build, homes across the valley at that time, probably from, 200,000 up until about $1 million, in price point. And, a lot of our divisions, we had luxury housing and so, beautiful homes. And we always classified ourselves as a mid-luxury builder. And so when we were looking at that piece, our division president, Don, and I were talking with our corporate group saying, hey, this could be a great opportunity to elevate our brand in the market. And so we wanted to come up with a different name. And so we call it our Signature Collection. And so that was our venture. We thought, for somebody that wants to buy a home between 2 and let's say 4 million, you can take a traditional path. You can find a lot, design the home, have somebody build it. That's typically maybe 2 to 3 years. And we thought, hey, if we design really cool homes, provide some level of flexibility, we can build the home faster and make it a little bit more affordable for people. And so we started that project, learned a lot, and I think we have 7 home sites left out of 66. And then that really gave us an opportunity to go into the Phoenician as well.
I just completely forgot about the Ritz-Carlton deal.
Yeah, that was the catalyst to get us to the Phoenician.
Yeah, because that's a huge step in a different direction. I mean, that's probably revolutionary, by the way, for you guys, for a builder of that size to come into the Ritz community and do the homes that are there and be sold for pretty damn quick. I mean, there was lists of people that wanted to get in there for a $4 million house.
Yeah, people were, for our customer, they were and the realtor community. We spent a lot of time educating the realtor community because they're like, well, you're a production builder. And, we would be like, well, it's the right horses for the courses, right? We're not using all the trades that we use at all of our communities to deliver those homes. And so even from the products that we sourced, for the trades that we hired, the architectural design, it was a great learning curve. And I built custom homes. Don, our division president, built custom homes. So it's great to brainstorm with him and bring what we knew in the custom home world, and how do you conform that to a more production environment. So it's been a fun journey.
Are you guys using any of those elements that you guys learned from this new into some of the other communities that aren't like that super high end now? They're like, hey, we could have done this a little bit better, or we can add this to this?
Yeah, definitely. So we have a couple new communities coming online. One's up in Story Rock, North Scottsdale. It's called Reserves at Story Rock. We took the architectural style. It's very difficult for us to change architectural styles at most municipalities. If you're in the Southeast Valley, you're under like a Santan guidelines, and so they want more traditional homes, and you see the same old product, year after year. Little enhancements on the exterior elevation, a lot of enhancements on the interior, and so it's nice, working with some municipalities that are more progressive, and so that more modern transitional architectural style.
Where would that be? So Paradise Valley and
Paradise
North
Valley,
Scottsdale?
North Scottsdale. Yeah. Well, maybe. Yeah. Maybe some other places. As of right now, we're
that's weird.
Yeah, we're kind of pigeonholed. But yeah, so we took a lot of those elements, and so we'll be opening communities the first quarter of next year, and you'll see a lot of those characteristics in homes that are half the price.
So that being the Phoenician and the Ritz being such high profile communities, was a lot of your team's like bandwidth, so to speak, on getting those things rolled out? Because you're right, that was a huge marketing campaign, now that I think about it, because it seems like there was always something going on over there, especially for the realtors.
For the first, right? I mean, Phoenician, we've been COVID, but
yeah. So how we handled that is we just built our own team. So we had a team within Shea Homes that was specialized for Shea Signature. So we let all of our other team members, focus on all of our other communities. And then there was a small group that we really put a lot of our attention into that community and the development of it. It would have been too difficult to try and change the culture of the entire organization.
Yeah.
And so that boutique group, and the Phoenician was nice because a lot of those team members that were trained at Azure are now at the Phoenician community, and we feel like we got it down now, but it took us a few humps.
Okay. Is the Phoenician community like sold out?
So we talk virtually, right? So we built that community 100% virtual. Wish we could show video, because I think everybody would be like, no way. So that community, everything from the golf course to the Phoenician resort to all the surrounding property, we built that in a virtual world. So it's a 3D world. We use real images for what's there, and we build everything else virtually. So we partner with a company in Alpha Vision. They do all of our communities. So at the Phoenician, you can pick any plan. You can put it on a home site. You see it. You can walk around the outside of the home, see how big the backyard is, and then walk through the home. On the golf course home sites, Matt, who's our videographer, photographer in-house, and myself went out and we shot all the still images at 5.5 feet and 17.5 feet. And then that company stitched those on all the windows. So if you bought a Res 3 on the golf course, you can walk up to your loft, and the view that you're looking at is the actual view out of your home. That's what we can do today in technology.
So
cool. What other VP of sales and marketing
goes out and shoots us
shooting the
still.
pictures for the community for a giant company like this? Well, that's good. So the people that work for you probably think that you're just like you're in the trenches with them and doing a lot of the stuff or just being involved. They probably love that.
Well, I think that's leadership, right? I mean, in a general sense, the more disconnected you feel with the people that you work with, you're not going to be there.
Yeah.
And so just as connected as I feel with them, I think it's beneficial. And you have long-term employees, and they go to work and they feel like they're making a difference. And I think that's lacking in a lot of companies. You see millennials moving all over because they are disconnected. They don't feel connected. So it's something that we really strive to do, is invest in people. And have them not look at it as a job. I always go, hey, what's your career? Because if your career with me is only 5 years, I want to help you get to 6 to 10. It may not be with Shea Homes, But I think as leaders, in a community, in organizations, in a family, you have to help people grow, and that's what's great about the culture that I work with.
You have a lot of, well, I'm sure you don't have very much turnover, but you have a lot of people that have been there for a long time.
Sales team, this will shock you. This is with new hires as well. Sales team tenure is 18 and a half years.
Holy
wow.
smokes.
Damn,
That's a new home company sales team, 18 and a half
Wow.
years. And my office team is, I think, going on 13 years.
That's
Because
incredible.
the sales, because that's very transient, right? People bounce from builder to builder to builder usually, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
18 and a half years, that's, damn.
Well,
But I have a rule, right?
Okay,
So,
let's hear this rule.
Yeah. If
Write it down, everybody.
if you're working for me, right,
Yeah.
and you want to leave, that's fine. But
Yeah.
you can never come back.
Oh, okay.
You
It's
get
blood
one-
in, blood out.
Yeah, blood in, blood out. You get a one-way ticket, and so I think people have to pause because sometimes in jobs you're not happy,
Yeah.
right? And it may not be the job, it may be your personal life. You're going through some struggle, and you see people do that, take it out on work. And so what's really cool being with a big family-owned company is you create a family culture, and a family culture is. Ryan, when you have a bad day, I'm still going to smile at you.
Yeah.
Because when I have a bad day, you better be smiling
Yeah.
at me. So,
Right.
I
That's
think
awesome.
I think that's really important.
Do you think that the fact that you guys are privately held affects that, like that family culture? I mean, you're not answering to Wall Street.
Most definitely. Most definitely. Yeah, we don't worry about. I mean, we worried about the profitability of the company, right? But we don't worry about stock value.
Right.
Yeah.
And we don't have to answer the question of investors that go, hey, your stock is falling for whatever reason. We need a new CEO, or we need a new division president, or you need a new VP of sales and marketing. And so we don't deal with that. It's a high trust culture. We know that, everybody's smart and they understand what they do. It's high accountability. You're not going to skate by. And we play to win. And not that nobody else plays to win. But we play to win for the benefit of our team,
Right.
And it's like a sports analogy, right? I mean, you see what's happening in the NFL, right? Strong teams, weak teams.
Do you guys play nice in the sandbox with the other builders?
Yeah, all of them.
Okay.
We have great relationships with, which is interesting, right? I mean, we're radically different than D.R. Horton.
Mm-hmm.
And, D.R. Horton has been, very gracious to us, provided us opportunity to purchase land from them. Pulte, I mean, you name it, all the other builders, and big master plan communities.
Right.
We're typically going in there together.
Okay.
And for the most part, we all have a different niche. It's just like the team at D.R. Horton. They're a big company, right? We can't hit their price points.
Right.
I mean, we just can't do it. And so we have to say, well, how do we differentiate? We're going to allow you to personalize our home more than that home. And if somebody comes in and D.R. Horton is their solution, fantastic. It doesn't hurt our feelings, because you mentioned it earlier. You didn't buy just one home.
Right.
You're going to buy multiple homes. And so if you're looking at multiple years as a builder, we'll get you someday, right?
Yeah.
You may move to a few other builders. So, yeah, I'm really impressed. I have a lot of good friends with all the other builders. And, we do play really nice in the sandbox.
I think that, I think about my house that I built in Windsong long time ago, 63rd Avenue in Jomax for everybody that wants to know. I remember how clean that house was and how nice it was versus the next two houses that I built. It always felt like the house that I moved into was done and the other ones weren't. And I know the other builders were good too, by the way. But, you see the Shea Homes are just, it seems like they're just a little bit more, well, they was for me, polished.
I
so to speak.
completely agree.
Yeah, so we, and I'm not knocking any other builder. We just have different processes and systems. So we have a QPR process that, you have construction, on-site construction manager that's building the house. You may have assistant superintendents. They build the home, right? And they build a home with the trades. But we have a whole team of individuals that go and inspect that home. And so we really look at that as if you want to inspect something, right? If I was doing work for you and I'm like, Ryan, it's all cool. I inspected everything. It's great. Pay me.
Yeah.
You're like, maybe I should look at it first.
Right.
Right. And so we have another team that looks at those homes. And plus we understand that, we're not in a lab. We're building your home and like you can walk it.
Right.
And so being cleanly, our trades being, cleanly on the job site or keeping the job site clean, it's important. It's a statement to us.
Yeah.
So we invest a lot of time to make sure that we treat your home the way you'd want to treat it throughout the entire construction process. Doesn't always work, but
right.
I mean, that's what we strive for. I'm going to get a call. My home is.
I know.
No, it's okay.
It's good.
So do you know Mike Isles from you? Like, did I ask you this when we talked?
Yeah.
Okay. So he's a good friend of ours from like childhood.
Richmond?
Yep.
Yeah, he was Richmond.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we went
Richmond,
to high
yeah.
school together. He
Oh,
was on the
okay.
show about 6 months ago.
Yeah, I saw.
He's another good guy in the builder
Yeah, he's a
community.
West Valley boy.
Yeah,
Yep.
he is.
I loved his statement in his video. Like, I always felt like West Valley people were tougher.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a nice.
We always felt that way.
I know. I guess as a central guy, you always felt like you were tougher.
Really? Why?
A Brophy kid from Paradise Valley.
The gloves are coming off.
Yeah. Right, for you. It's there for you. Yeah, that's funny.
If that makes you feel better, Ryan, I'll support it.
It was our ignorance of growing up, the outskirts of town.
Yeah.
We didn't know.
Central, what is that?
We're like, oh, those kids.
Well, we had
They fly their helicopters to school.
in college going to ASU. I had so many friends who had never been west of Central. They were like, "You live where?"
Yeah.
Like it
And those
didn't
kids
West
still
Valley
haven't.
didn't exist.
Yeah, still haven't
They
left.
still haven't,
Yeah.
unless they work for a builder.
It's crazy.
And they had to
Yeah.
go out there. So, what has been your favorite part of your career, and worst?
Oh, wow.
The most difficult, not the worst.
So the most favorite is just it's really understanding that you're taking a piece of land, right? And if we're developing it, it's curb street, sidewalks, open space, parks, lot size, the plans that go in, the elevations. There's so many, sometimes many years of work and creation to bring a community to life, and then. My role today, I have a sales manager that manages the day-to-day business, so I get to work on the fun stuff, right?
Yep.
Bringing those communities to life. And my kids now, my daughter, I just took her to the airport yesterday. She hung out with the weekend with me, which was really nice. But she's 32 and my son's 30. And when they're like 12 and 14 and 16, I always remember my dad taking me to job sites, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'd always take my kids to these communities that were either coming out of the ground halfway or nearly finished. And even talking to them today, they're always like, that was so cool. You see like a raw piece of land, and then you have 250 homes, and you
Yeah.
can see kids playing in the park. And I think that's my biggest, sense of pride. I think that's a better way to describe it, is being a part of that process. I mean, we're expanding the city.
Yeah.
Slowly but surely on a residential basis, and other great companies do that on a commercial basis. My worst would be, I don't know what we're calling it anymore. Was it a depression, recession, the crash of the housing?
Yeah.
The bubble burst.
Well, it was kind of funny. It's not funny, but during that period of time, right, I'm in home building, and so I told everybody I was an attorney. Because prior to that, when people go, oh, you're an attorney, ooh, wow, that's terrible.
Right.
But during the worst housing market in the world, being an attorney was much,
Right.
viewed on greater than being a VP of sales and marketing. Because then people would be yelling at me.
Right.
You took my home from me. I had
Yeah.
to go through foreclosure. What's cash for keys and the whole thing? And I'm like, I didn't do anything.
Right.
I mean, I don't know what we had to do with that, but that was the worst. We lost about 82% of our entire team over the years. We got to hire many of those people back, but it was traumatic. A lot of really good friends for a lot of years lost their companies, businesses, houses, filed bankruptcy, committed suicide. It was a bummer. And to be there every day with the team, fighting through it, and trying to be positive and
Right.
motivate other people, that was
Just
That was
praying to
tough.
God that it was gonna flip again and go back.
And it
to being
lasted
normal.
way too long, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I had dark hair. Now I'm like gray through the whole thing. So,
So wait, how do you think the mortgage guys felt about that time?
well, it was their fault.
Yeah, I was saying it wasn't the home builder's fault. It was the mortgage, the bank.
I think it was American greed.
I wasn't in this
anyways.
business back then.
Yeah. Yeah. Nobody was sacred in housing or mortgage.
Yeah.
So.
Can I
All
ask
right, yeah.
a rapid fire? We
Sure.
haven't-
Oh, yeah.
Go for it.
Okay, cool. When are you most inspired?
When I see other people get inspired.
Good
I mean,
answer.
that's probably, yeah.
Well,
definitely.
you know what? We didn't talk about it, but the on your LinkedIn profile, I saw something about 7 Habits, like you're a facilitator or a cubby. So the whole like.
How'd that happen?
Being like a leader, self-development, and all that. I mean, that answer sounds like somebody who's into that stuff.
Yeah.
So, can you
Um,
talk about that a little bit?
So in the wild, wild west of home building, it was pretty crazy. Trades really fought with other trades. You know, drywallers hated framers. I would say hate, that's a strong word, but, you know, disappointed with some of the quality of the work. And when we looked at that, we said, hey, there has to be a different path. There has to be a path that you can get people on both inside the company and the companies that we work with to look at their jobs a little bit differently. And so we partnered with the Franklin. At that time, it was
Franklin
just,
Covey.
Well, at that time, it was just Covey, and they
okay.
merged after that. And so really had a lot of time to spend with Stephen Covey and his son.
That's cool.
And we invest a lot of time looking at how do you change not only your organization or other organizations. And so 7 Habits is really about, there's a icon that they have. It's called the maturity continuum. And it says people start where they're dependent, and then they get to being independent, and then ultimately interdependence. And interdependence is really about how you and I act, or how companies act, or how two people or husband and wife, how they interact, right? Because each party has their own kind of wants and needs. And so how do you cross that bridge and say, hey, we're going to have a win-win or no deal? And so that was really the catalyst that we said we can, you know, provide an opportunity to better our team members and better our trades that we work with. And that just catapulted into, we're in one of their books, participate in a lot of video development with the whole organization. And so then during the downturn of the market, right, I didn't facilitate, and so I lost my facilitation thing. So I just had to get recertified.
There goes my next question.
Yeah. So I think 5 or 6 of us just got recertified.
Oh,
and,
cool.
And so now we're back teaching 7 Habits again. So
So you're teaching
it's
it to just general public or just people within the court?
so
business, or
within,
what?
we take a larger, since we have a lot of new employees, we take about 75% of our own team members. So we, I think about 185 people, 188 people here in Arizona. And then we'll open it up 75% to them, and then 25% to our trades.
Oh, okay.
So it's most of the companies that we interact with.
Okay.
That's super cool.
Long answer to a
No,
short
it's great.
question.
I was curious because when I read 7 Habits, it was life changing for me. So I've always wanted to do one of the Covey workshops. So
You know, one of my classes, actually, my freshman year at ASU was a Covey. It was the whole semester was the book.
oh wow,
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
I
it
didn't
was
know
like a
that.
leadership class I had to take because of the
Scholarship?
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But scholarship I lost.
Edit.
Freshman year was fun. Manzanita Hall, I left.
Did you know my sister?
I should, it sounds like. So did either of your kids have any interest in working with you, or?
You know, I thought maybe my son had an option. Both of them went to ASU through WP Carey. My daughter's, business major, and she was going down that path in PR marketing, and then I don't know, just banked. So she moved to Hawaii for PR, and then was just like, hey, I really want to get into yoga and meditation. So she works for a very successful company. She lives in Venice Beach, California. Both my kids in California. A company called Unplug. And they do personal health and development through yoga and meditation for big companies like Amazon, Google. So you can log in your computer and just have that moment. It's really trying to get better connection and higher quality of life for a lot of the millennials or really anybody out there. And so
Do you get into any of that stuff?
she coaches me on a regular basis, like all kids tell their parents what to do. But no, I don't do yoga, don't do meditation. But she went through Deepak Chopra's center.
Wow.
She worked there and is fully certified through them. And really, I think his book is like Perfect Health, which is the environment that you live in and you as a person, holistically. And so I think it's very fascinating. We have great conversations about it.
No, it's cool. It goes back to like you were saying, you wake up every day and you're happy with what you do and you go to work happy. And that's what sounds like she's doing as well.
Yeah.
Right? Not everybody gets to do that.
Does she want to come on a podcast? We've been dabbling with the idea of like health and wellness. We just haven't gone there yet.
Oh, she would love it. So my son's a finance law guy. But he works for a small REIT company, personal investors. They buy commercial property all over the country. But believe it or not, in the beginning of the year, they started a company and they do yoga on the beach. So in Santa Monica, right by the Santa Monica Pier. Oh. So in the mornings, they're down to 2 classes now because it's getting a little bit colder. Then they'll shut it down for the winter. But he's totally subscribed to that, so he participates. My daughter and a few other people do the yoga classes.
So it's not a studio because it's always on the beach.
It's out on the beach, so
that's so cool.
It's
so they don't pay rent. Do they charge people to come?
I don't. I mean, you had to get a permit, so I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know what
Did you ever
that
see that?
costs through.
Yeah.
Damn.
Through California, I don't know.
Sounds very cool.
So he's doing finance law.
Well, he's now a financial analyst
Oh, gotcha.
and investment advisor for a small.
Is he? So he's in Santa Monica or is he in Venice?
He's in Santa Monica.
Same difference, kind of. Right?
Yeah, I mean they're right on the border.
Yeah.
They live like 5 minutes apart. My kids are like inseparable, like you two.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
well,
cool.
That's good.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Yeah, we're 2.5 years apart. Also.
Yeah, so
Close
they're
in age,
2
yeah.
years apart. Yeah.
So, what's your favorite community besides the Ritz and besides the Phoenician? Is this going to be too hard for you to answer?
Oh no, it's an easy one. So it's Seville Golf and Country Club.
Oh God, Seville's so underrated. It really is because it's so far out there.
Yeah,
but dude,
it's
it's
amazing.
Is that Chandler or Gilbert?
That's Gilbert.
So this is not going to be douchey. The GM at Arizona Country Club was the GM out at Seville for like a decade.
Geezy?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So he still lives there. He still lives in Seville.
Yeah. So I remember hiring him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so he's a great guy, and we bought that community in like 1,400 acres, 1,450 acres, and we had just this big piece of dirt, and I mean it was pretty cool. Shea entrusted me to do some research to name the community. We worked on the land plan, the golf course. I took 3 months, traveled East Coast to West Coast, toured a whole bunch of golf clubs. Got to work with the architects on design. It's a small group of us. We had the CEO of Shea Homes at the time, Roy Humphreys, Buddy Satterfield, and just a couple other people, myself. And I think we created a really special place.
Yeah. What's the crossroads on that again?
So it's Riggs and Higley.
Riggs and Higley. But it's like, I don't know, Vistancia and steroids. As far as like, Vistancia is very nice too, but the course out at Seville, the country club, it's so high-end.
Well, people don't really realize it. I mean, there was a lot of thought in that country club. So at that time, you had Superstition Mountain out in that area. You had some smaller country clubs. And country clubs during that era were not that popular.
Right.
Because they were not that friendly.
Right.
And you need people like Tim Giese, right? That's a people's person, engaging. And we were just like, how do we attract families? We built that huge water park. We thought at that time Del Webb and with Anthem did a great job on their, big community park. I mean, they put a railroad in, which was over the top. But they did the whole water park. And we were like, hey, we have to create this whole thing. But if you go at Seville, ask them how they get deliveries. Because we built a tunnel across the entrance road. So there's a tunnel underneath there. Because when I was spending time talking with families, like, you don't want big semis backing up with your little kids running around. And so we said we have to detach like the back of house with what you're presented as a member of the country club. So I think it turned out really nice, really happy with it. So as you can tell, I'm like gushing about it.
I'm surprised you don't live. It sounds like you might live there.
I'm still in my same house.
I still you don't live there. Why is that, by the way? Like, what would I mean? It's very old school, obviously, and you've seen a million beautiful homes that you could have just been like, you know what, I'm just going to do this.
Yeah.
What's caused you from not being like looking for the next best thing?
Teach
us, please.
Yeah. So. The worst and best thing about being a custom builder is, when you build a home and you're like, oh, I would have changed that. I would have changed that, right? So the best thing is you know how to do it. The worst thing is you're your biggest critic. And so just from, spending so much time with my father on job sites and, building custom homes, and really when I designed that home, I drew it, right? I built a model of it. Loved the home site, loved the location. I said, hey, I want to build a home that when my kids are growing up, that all their friends want to come there. And so you go through that era with your kids, and you're like, oh my gosh, my kids are so great. I have so many great memories in the whole thing. And I was like, wow, I built the perfect party home. Right. And so I transitioned that from a kid home to now it's
great for entertaining.
Great for entertaining. And so it's. I look at a
it's
lot
evolved.
of homes, and I just have not like, hey, this is better than what I am. I know it's kind of weird, but
because even if you're going to buy now, you'd probably buy somewhat similar in the same area, maybe.
I love to travel, and so I can leave my home and be at the airport in 18 minutes. That's
just shooting down the 51.
Just straight down the 51, and that's a big thing. Before the 51, it was like 45 minutes.
Yeah. We used to have to take a dirt road to the airport.
Exactly.
What's the architectural style?
It's probably like contemporary.
Okay.
Yeah, which is strange, right?
Which is very cutting edge for 30 years ago or 28 years ago.
Yeah. Very contemporary.
Wow.
Awesome.
I was going to ask you another question regarding some of the other communities that.
I have a question.
Yes.
Maybe isn't good, but.
So, like with Seville, you were planning an entire community, and like the country club element. Like, I don't think production builder, they build clubs, but you do, right? How much experience did you have like in commercial, or how much does Shea do on like the commercial side? It's like Trilogy is like my only experience with you guys with like having like a club environment. I just think houses. So like, how does that all come to be?
Yeah. So I mean, the J.F. Shea company, right, founded in 1881. Wow. So long time ago. Started in homes in the 1950s, and during that time, have developed great communities in a lot of communities in California and big golf course communities. Okay. And so we have a ton of intellectual capital in the organization that you can rely on. So that culture, it's not a competitive thing between anybody. So even in the designing of the club, the whole active lifestyles teams are completely engaged with us. We're bouncing ideas off, like how big does the restaurant need to be? How big does the clubhouse? And plus we have consultants. And then, Vistancia, that was a great partnership between, Shea family and active lifestyles and a lot of other builders that were out there.
That's a beautiful property.
What about Wickenburg Ranch? Are you guys out there too?
Yeah, that's our active lifestyle Trilogy community out there.
Okay. So were you guys part of that golf course build as well?
The whole Trilogy group was. And Little Wick, right?
That's what I was getting at. Little Wick, that's the best place.
Yeah, the little executive course.
That's the only place in town.
You were talking about that a couple weeks ago.
Yes, I was.
Yeah.
So Mountain Shadows obviously has their short course there, but Little Wick it's just different.
Fun, trendy music.
Cool holes, elevated tee boxes, and it's got speakers on all the holes and a cool little restaurant down below, but it's beautiful.
Yeah.
The Wickenburg Ranch is also, it might not be underrated because I know it's ranked always as one of the best courses, but I don't think a lot of people go out there to play from Phoenix. It's people that live out there, obviously, and then people that might come in from out of town, but for us living in the Northwest Valley, for me living in the North, it's not that far.
No, it's great.
It's like 40 minutes. So
it takes the same amount of time to get to Seville.
Right.
Or, Superstition Mountain.
Right. But people don't leave their bubble typically when they should give it a shot. But yeah, because, you go out there and you start drinking and you're playing, you need a ride home.
Yeah.
So it makes things a little bit more difficult.
So we'll get you into counseling for them.
Okay, cool. I don't need more accounts.
Oh, just keeping
Just
up
add
with
to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just write me a note.
It's actually a lot of great behavioral health places out there.
Yeah.
There's a
That's
bunch.
true.
I mean, that's like
true.
weird, like a high concentration.
How does she know that?
Well,
Yeah.
It's a family
Please
affair.
share.
So, okay, traveling real quick here. I know we're coming up on an hour, but I wanted to talk a little bit about, so you like to travel a lot. Where's your favorite place to go? And is it, you sail. I'm going to tell everybody he sails. So talk about that a little bit because I think that's cool.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy living in the desert and have such a passion. The ocean for me is like the most incredible thing. I mean, it's growing up on the Great Lakes. I was small, sailed on little swordfish, sunfish, and then moved up to Hobie Cat, 17 snipes, sailed on Lake Michigan, and then came to Arizona and really didn't do sailing for a long period of time. Ran into a really good friend that he sails, and I'm like, we got to go sailing. So I went to J school, got my certifications in San Diego.
What's J school?
So it's a sailing school
in
San Diego. And so you need kind of certifications to rent sailboats. And so I've been all through the Pacific, Atlantic, Caribbean Sea, Mediterranean, sailed. My longest sailing trip was almost a month.
Jeez.
Went right down the center of the Atlantic.
Ever get scary?
I wouldn't admit it. No. Yeah, there's definitely times you get a little scary.
You got some fun hobbies, huh? Keep you busy outside of just working.
Well, I think that's part, right? Like I try to tell people, don't wait for life, right? You work every day. It's like anybody with children. We're waiting for the perfect time to have kids. There's no perfect time. We're waiting to go on this trip. Just do it, right?
Yeah.
You just got to do things. I don't care if it's a trip to Sedona or, camping or whatever it is. I think life has so much more to offer, and people that are fortunate to travel, especially to other countries or Europe, you come back here and you go, I don't think I'm going to bitch about so much stuff that's going on, right?
Perspective
is
everything.
We're lucky. You see the quality of life that some people have, which we take for granted every day. It changes your perspective. And I think more people got out and saw the world. They would be more happy with their spouse, or they'd be more happy with their kids, or the community that they live in, and I think they would contribute. The other thing is, when you see like strong family values and cultures, right? That these families have been together for a long period of time, right? And there's so much respect. It just would be nice one day we get back to that as a society, that that family is really important and your friends are even more important.
Right.
Because you get to pick them.
That's good.
That'll be a quote.
Yeah. Do you ever see yourself living in another country?
It would have to be the Caribbean.
Yeah. That's your spot.
Yeah. I mean, how do you beat it? 85 degrees year round, like incredible water. I love to scuba dive. So yeah, I mean, just being on the water. But
I was looking at it.
Yeah, I have too much fun. Everybody goes, when are you going to retire? I'm like, I don't know.
You're like, why would I have to? I can still do everything I want to do. And I still get to work, too, and you love what you do.
Yeah.
I was looking at a trip for just before Christmas, and we were thinking about going to, well, it was going to be Hawaii, and holy cow, just like there's nothing there. Plus, they're having like a lot of lockdowns, especially in the Kaanapali area. So I worked for the travel agent for the first time ever, I think, in my adult life, and she's trying to get us to go to the Caribbean, and same thing, man. It's just like super difficult. I didn't realize like right around, well, December, January, just obviously like people go there all the time. I was thinking like everybody goes to like Vail and Aspen, right? But people are leaving. They're going to the Caribbean for the holidays and wanted to be in the sun and the beach and stuff. But man, it gets spendy over in St. Thomas.
Yeah, you have to find the right islands.
Yeah. What's your favorite island? Where should we go?
I have a bunch of them. Favorite island. They're all.
Where would you suggest? Couple.
Well, I mean, the high tourist spot, right, is St. Thomas, because then you can go to St. John. But I would say, I think the best thing, and I know it's an anti-COVID statement, but, to take families on cruises where you get to experience multiple islands, I think is pretty cool. But
that's actually a good idea.
Yeah, we've only done the one
favorite
cruise.
island. I don't know. Like Cayman's pretty cool because it's just like a big beach. St. Thomas and St. Martin. St. Thomas is just it's a mountain, right? It's just a mountain island.
It's actually the very first time we ever got on a plane. Was we went to we had obviously a lot of stops along the way, but the first vacation we ever took by plane.
And a water plane too.
Yeah, water plane. We did St.
Wow.
Thomas, St. Croix, St. John.
Yeah,
Oh.
St. John.
We were little.
Right there.
That was
Like
43 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you were like 5,
Yeah, maybe
younger.
Yeah, it's pretty. I mean, I think cruises. I don't know the whole COVID thing with cruises, but I've definitely that's how I travel a lot with my kids because you could say, hey, I'm gonna do 3 islands or 5 islands and experience different things, and then they have great activities for the kids to entertain them while you're playing slot machines or.
Well, it gets harder nowadays when the kids are older and. Your kids didn't have cell phones probably where they were on all social media all day long as well on the ship. We'll call it ship. So it's like tough because my kids are older too, trying to figure out like what's going to be fun for them to do, that will keep them away from just sitting on their phones.
See, the kids want to do the same things that or at least my kids do because they're older. They can all drink.
Yeah.
They want to hang out with
Well, then I would go
cocktail.
to, the Yucatan Peninsula, Playa del Carmen, Cozumel, even Cabo. There's all-inclusives where then they can eat and drink all they want, and they're there, right? They can't leave.
Yeah, Cancun and Punta Mita are like right in there.
Yeah.
Or thought process too, but we should have booked it a year ago. I didn't realize how expensive. Especially you got to fly everybody there. It gets expensive.
Yeah, flights are really expensive now.
So what do you guys have going on right now? Like what new communities or?
So we are in a whole different era.
Okay.
So Ryan, it's the world has changed, and we sell our homes predominantly through info sessions and virtual reality. So last night we launched our second phase of Acclaim at Alomar. So it was about a 40-minute session. We take people through the entire community, walk them virtually through the home, and then we have 4 other communities that we're opening this month as well. 2 more out in the Southwest Valley, and then 2 at Geordie Farms out in the Southeast Valley. And they're all virtual sessions.
Wow.
And so we've elected at 2 of those communities not to even build models, because we can take you through a home just
it's that good.
like you're walking through it. It's pretty amazing.
We didn't check this out.
Yeah.
Too bad we don't have the technology quite yet to just throw it on the old podcast. We probably could do it.
We can
embed.
We can at least put the links there, and then Lene said she was going to get me some assets that
she'll send you some stuff.
Yeah. But do you have to make an appointment for those though? Like you can't just like go. I was on the website. I didn't recall like seeing like an option to like go tour.
Yeah. So
it's with the person, right?
So 2 different things for our communities that are open, and our communities are technically all closed.
Okay.
And so we're open for appointment Monday through Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday we'll take appointments in and after our info sessions. Or open houses. And so we have open houses for people. The virtual tours, just because it takes a gaming computer, we have to do those on Zoom or Microsoft Teams. So to schedule an appointment or attend one of our published info sessions, because in order to deliver really high resolution, you need a really fast computer. Now we'll be taking that and cutting up into little pieces and creating like a Matterport. And so you can take your own tour through that. And so we're in the process of working on those, and we'll get those delivered. So you'll be able to see that on sheahomes.com. It's not really 100% immersive. Have you used the Oculus?
Mm-hmm.
So when you're in a home with the Oculus, if the ceilings are 10 feet high or 12 feet high or whatever, the new Oculus Rift, when you put it on, you get to feel like the height of a doorway. I mean, it's crazy. We can't demonstrate that on a screen.
Yeah.
But we have the Oculus. It's just people are a little bit creepy about wearing them, especially with COVID going on or Delta
So
variant.
the buyer has to have the gaming computer?
No,
or
you have any computer.
Okay, but
we
you
send
guys.
it.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, because you need that gaming computer because it's so much.
Yeah.
It's just like your any gaming computer.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
Whether it's an Xbox.
Oh, I have one
or
in my house.
PlayStation.
Or the computer.
We have one
ones
right
that are-
here.
Yeah, it's so you're trying to get a
backpack.
faster processor to have the most realistic graphics.
Yeah.
So it's the same concept.
Gotcha. One more rapid fire there.
Sure. If you could instantly become an expert at something, what would it be?
Relationships. Oh, with the opposite sex.
Well, you don't. You don't consider yourself an expert at relationships?
Nobody is.
Okay.
Men will never understand women, and women will never understand men.
All right. Fair enough.
That's true.
Yeah.
I'm in a relationship, but I think I don't know what that gap is of communication. You know, you see some people that have that magical thing, but it's rare
Yeah.
It's a good answer. Nobody's ever. Yeah, we know.
because nobody wants to be honest about it, right?
Right.
They're on Facebook. They have the best relationship in the entire world.
Ugh.
Their Instagram feeds. You were so lucky.
I can't believe all the colors are all exactly the same in all your pictures.
Yeah,
That's good.
That's a good answer though, because usually it's been like a trade or a skill or so relationships. That's good.
No, it's
honest.
It's important.
But I bet you're amazing at relationships with your buddies.
Oh yeah, I mean they speak my language, right?
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, you want another cigar? Yeah. Honey, you want another cigar? You're disgusting.
You want to go to a game? You want to watch a game? Sure.
Yeah, football. Let's watch football.
All right, we're
about to wrap it up. So,
Okay.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Absolutely.
Ken Peterson from Shea Homes. And thanks again to VIP Mortgage. Thank you, Trey. Thanks, Trish. Remember, everybody, to go on our social media platforms. We are on YouTube, Real Talk with Ryan Madrid. So like and subscribe, ring the bell so you guys are notified when we release a new album, a new episode. That's next. And on Facebook, we are on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn, Real Talk with Ryan Madrid. And we are on all the listening platforms for podcasts. So please go on and share these with your friends and family or colleagues, anybody in the business, or just anybody who wants to learn something really cool. So thanks again, and we will talk to you guys next time. Is there anything else that I need to say?
Nope.
I feel like it looks like it might.
You
All right.
got it all.
Wrapping it up.
All
right.
See you next time.
See
Thank
ya.
you.
VIP Mortgage Incorporated does business in accordance with the Federal Fair Lending Laws, NMLS ID 145502. For state-specific licensing, please visit www.vipmtginc.com/national-licenses/. VIP is not acting on behalf of or at the direction of the FHA, HUD, or the federal government. VIP is an equal housing lender.